Today we have Ras Iroy of Nevis as a representative here to tell us about Kwanzaa and its observance. So good morning again.
Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I the First and Empress Menen. Greetings to ones and ones.
Good morning. So can you tell us what is Kwanzaa? I know that we normally celebrate Christmas, maybe a very Eurocentric Christmas, but can you tell us about Kwanzaa?
I think your introduction of Kwanzaa was pretty good. But however, Kwanzaa is not an alternative for Christmas. It's not a religious holiday. It is, as was mentioned, a traditional Pan-African festival which is celebrated throughout the world. It was started in 66 by Dr. Karenga, who actually visited his homeland, Africa, and would have gained some information on the different festivals and festivities that surround the African people. And as such, he would have put together the Kwanzaa celebrations, which last over 7 days.
So there are 7 principles that focus on traditional values of the African community. What can you tell us about each of them and their relevance to the African diaspora?
Well, actually, the 7 principles, which are called the Nguzo Saba, and that's a Swahili term. And the whole Kwanzaa language is written or spoken in Swahili, which is a pretty common language throughout the continent of Africa. Now, the 7 principles really put together would encompass our daily life, what we should be aspiring to, something that would touch on our past or African heritage, and also something that would reflect on what the future, what the present is for us. Also preparing us, living out for the future, what to expect, how to plan. 7 terms, Umoja, which means unity. And then there's Kuji Chagulia, which means self-determination. There's Ujima, which means collective work and responsibility. Ujama, which means collective economics. Then there's Nia, number 5, which means purpose. Kuumba is number 6, which means creativity. And Imani, which is number 7, means faith.
It's beautiful. And I know that there are candles, there are specific candles and candle holders. Can you tell us about the meanings and the relevance? Or is it the same 7 principles?
Well, basically, Kwanzaa in itself is a celebration of the first harvest. And the origin of the whole word, the whole terminology would reflect that. And so it's an African celebration which focuses on harvest, what you would have either reaped from the soil or produced by your hands. What you would find is there's a table that is set up displaying all the Kwanzaa items. There are many different items that goes on the table. Outstanding of which is the kinara. The kinara is a candle holder which holds 7 candles. And the 7 candles are of the color of the Kwanzaa colors, the colors of the Kwanzaa flag, which basically comes from the color which Marcus Garvey would have designed for I and I as a black people, as an African people, the red, the black, and the green. And so you have in the colors of the candle, there's 1 candle which is black, the center candle called Umoja. And then you have 3 red candles and 3 green candles. Throughout the celebration from the 26th of January to the 26th of December, to the 1st of January, what you find is on each day, that specific principle is focused on. And on that day, that particular candle, which represents that principle, is lit. For example, Umoja would be the black candle would be the first candle. After which you have Kujichakulia, which is the first red candle. So after you light the black candle, then you go to the red candle on the second day, the green candle on the third day, back to the red on the fourth day, and you interchange. Now, these candle and principles, as we said, does have the necessary meaning. So when you light the Umoja candle, which is the black candle, which represents unity, you start thinking about working towards unity within the family, within the community. That is really what it's about. The black, of course, in practically all of our representations when it comes to an African people, the black will represent us, our heritage, our African heritage. The red, which would represent our struggles, the bloodshed, the fight that we would have had to put up against injustices. And the green would represent the land, fertile land, the future, the benefits of all the struggles. And so those colors are highly depicted throughout the candles in the Kinara.
Ras Iroy, I want to ask you now, is there a universal way that Kwanzaa is celebrated? Or is it unique to, is there an international standard for celebrating Kwanzaa, or is it unique for your group?
The whole principles of Kwanzaa, yes, there's a universal way. However, you would find a few variations depending on where you are. For example, the type of gifts, the type of fruits, the different items that you find on the table. There would be some difference, but there are some basic similarities, which I would have mentioned: the kinara, the candles, the colors, the symbols of Kwanzaa also are placed on the table, which is the mat, the ears of corn, the fruits, the vegetables, and so on. These are things that you'll find common in every Kwanzaa celebration. The edutainment part of it would be a little different. For us here in Nevis, we use our local artists, string band and all these other bands that are made from local instruments. And of course, we would have had some of our local artists, the singing and poetry and so on. Some people would explain the principles in different ways. For instance, last year we did a skit using our children, displaying and explaining the different principles. This year they did it individually. Some did poems, some did song, some do it through drumming. So there are variations, but at the end of the day, they basically would depict what the principles of Kwanzaa is all about.